Hello, I'd like to show you a new journal. This one is very feminine, and I think she'd make a great gift for a friend or a mom or a daughter or a sister who really likes to celebrate women and to celebrate femininity too. On the front, I've got a lady here, the bowling ball. It's a vintage bowling pin. And I created this from a photo album. I repurposed it and I gave it a slight bit of grunge because it was immaculate. But the picture here I changed out, and then I added the lace and I changed what was on here. Thought this went really well with the theme of this. And I added, of course, some lace and I think this is upholstery trim and some tulle under here and some sparkly, I guess it's kind of like tulle as well. On the spine I put a button with the dangle and tassel, and on this tassel there are some beads from jewelry and some charms from jewelry. There's a few charms throughout the journal as well. It's really sturdy, so it could be used as a junk journal, but it could also be used as a scrapbook because when I measure it, you'll see it's quite big too. So I don't have a name for her yet, but by the time I put this video up, I should have figured out a name. Anyways, let's measure and see how big she is. Okay, she is about 9 1/4 wide, just under, and 8 and just under 8 3/4 inches tall. She has, yeah, chunky. How wide is this? A little over 4 inches. Yeah, there's room to decorate more in here, but I just did not want her not to be able to fit into the mailing box. So, and the back, you can see the original cover. And this is the original cover on this side, but you can see that it was in mint condition when I decided to repurpose it. Yeah, and I used up what was inside of it. Been using up papers that were inside of it as well for tags and pockets and things, little booklets. So it's definitely been put to use. And this was from a card. The original picture that was here, it's inside here somewhere too. I think I'll point that out when I see it. Here we go. Oh, this was fun. Okay, this is vintage wallpaper, and because it still had the paste on the back, I actually didn't just leave it plain. I put on the back, you'll see there's, I think it's coffee dyed paper I put on the back of this. Got a postcard here, blank on the back. And this one's a vintage one. Very feminine. Printed in Holland. And the colors I thought went with in the theme. This is from a pendant from some old Avon jewelry, but I thought the colors in it just picked up everything on this page. Here's a little blue pendant here that goes perfect with the wallpaper, and a vintage button goes perfect with the lace. And over here I used a card to create I fussy cut it to create a tuck spot. I wanted the blue to go with the blue over here, and I turned this greeting card into a journal tag. And here, rather than glue this to the journal, I turned this into the journal card. Has some vintage lace on top, and I think this is vintage too as well, and I think that might be a vintage button, but I thought they all went nice together. So this is a hardcover, very sturdy. This is the original lining that was on it, and I just scrunched it up gently. Same with this tea-dyed lace that I added to it. Crunch that up gently as well. So on this side, this backs the wallpaper, because the wallpaper still had a bit of a texture, kind of like, I guess, the glue that was on it, and I didn't like the feel of it, so I covered it up with this coffee dyed paper, which has some vintage trim on it and some stamping, and inside there's a pocket that's got room for more goodies, but I just put a couple of little tags in there. And I turned this greeting card into a page, added some lace to it. As I said, very feminine journal. And on the back, there's lots of room for writing. There's some, I think that was tea dyeing with some plastic doily. You can see that I've done some doily dyeing on this as well. This is lovely old writing paper. Vintage button here, vintage lace here. This here is from the UK, from England, and it's commemorating a stamp. And what year was this? I think 1982. I thought that was so pretty for this journal. And I made this from book page, tea bag, a picture from a magazine, and I don't remember what this is from, but I love the pattern. Put a little envelope here, tea-dyed envelope with a little mini journal spot as well on here. This is a faux stamp I made. Bit of napkins, and I sewed around it as well. And that just tucks in here, and there's writing space on the back. Almost all my tags, journal cards, are blank on the back for extra writing space, because I think journaling is so important, so good for you. I even wore this little ring today. This a friend gave me. She no longer lives on this side of Canada. She's way over on the East Coast. It's my birthstone. It's a friendship ring she gave me. What a sweetie. And this is a greeting card. I left it whole after I tea-dyed it. It's one of those mouth and foot painted ones. I thought it was so pretty. Looks like somebody's getting ready to have somebody over for coffee or tea. This is vintage lace here. Love, love, love this. Goes good with the yellow and green on this page. Here's an envelope with some washi tape on it, and on here as well, and a little spot here for some stationery. You can write on here. Little tuck spot here. I loved how this tea dyeing on this turned out. Some things I wish I could replicate, but I can't. And this here is okay, this one was from, yes, a Dover book on carpets. I love the greens and that. Envelope here. Little tuck spot here. Note paper. A couple of ladies together. A little tally book. A sweet little kitten on it. Some tea dye paper inside. This is coffee dye paper here. Oh, darling, darling. Just love this. It's a journal card and an old doily there. And this here is vellum, repurposed from a card. And this, I was just goofing around, but I think it turned out sweet. This is from, with some vintage lace was on this, wrapped around it. And I like the feel and the naturally aged look of this little bit of cardboard. So I thought, oh, I got to turn this into a tag. There's some tea dyeing there, some stationery, tea dyed and folded to make a little tuck spot for some vintage writing paper there. Another postcard, perfect for journaling, and journaling on here as well. Here I made a little booklet, hang on that page there. This was a page from, I think, a Victoria magazine. Or it might have been from a crafty magazine, but sometimes when I'm going through my magazines, like these are older ones, rather than just recycling them, I harvest the favorite pictures. There's some stamping here, and oh, I just love this little card. You're going to see her a lot because she's from a deck of cards I have. And I made it into a little writing space as well as a tuck spot. And then you can write on there too. On this side, I did a fussy cut of vintage art from a desk book that I've had for years. Put a little homemade label on there. Did some stamping on this first before I put that on there. And I think this is from a box of stationery for wedding invitations, but it was unused. Yeah, better to unuse them than to use them in haste and regret it, right? Yeah. Marry somebody who's also your friend, a good friend that, you know, means you well. Even in the tough times, always means you well. And this here is tea-dyed, and just a little note here stuck in there on the vellum. Here's one of my little homemade faux wax seals, but it has a real flower in there from my garden. And I did some gold paint around the edge. And inside there's writing space here and writing space on here on both sides of that. That was fun. And it's also a tuck spot for this adorable little postcard. Celebrating women and girls of all ages. And here's a little spot here that I put. This card is the original picture from the front of this journal. And she's got some lace on there and a vintage button. And here's another vintage button here, little tag, some vintage lace. And this opens up and there's some faux stamps in there that I thought were pretty to put in here. And vintage button there. And this is some of that vintage wallpaper. Stamping. Another card. It's from Reader's Digest. Postcard. And over here we've got a greeting card made into a journal card. It's been tea-dyed. Lady sitting on the rock. Oh, that's one of my favorite things to do is go swimming in a cool or cold river and then sit on the sun-warmed rocks. Did that a lot with my kids when they were little because we used to live near a river. Oh, we still live near a river, but I mean, we live walking distance from a river where we used to be. And this has some copies of some little fun little watercolors I did. And so you can journal on the back or put them somewhere in the journal if you like. Turn them into tuck spots. And some stamping there. Tea-dyed bag. Added some bias tape. Was it bias tape or seam binding? Bias tape on here because I had used the bottom to make this little pocket over here. See that white bag? It's the bottom of this. And I forgot to point out a charm. I've got a charm on each of these pages that has the little holes. So on this one, there's a charm. It's a heart with some blue to go with the blue in here. Another vintage button and some vintage trim. And lovely ballerina there. And I like how it's kind of monochromatic and then there is pink. Splash of pink there. Dancing shoes. I wonder if I missed one of those flip downs in here. I think I showed that right. Oh, I see why, because here it's coming up now. Anyways, writing space, some lovely tea dyeing using the plastic doilies I have. And this was a picture from a magazine, and oh my goodness, you know, sometimes you just love a picture and you want to frame it. Well, I didn't frame it, but I gave it a place of honor in here. And this flips down and there's a pocket. There's room for other things too. Journal card. Had fun with stamping in this book and adding charms. There's a little charm here. And in here, there's another one of those really feminine pictures. Postcard. And here, made a tag out of some, this is from one of those accordion file things. And I added some fussy cut from, I think that was from a book, tea-dyed, and then I had Mod Podge on some napkin, did some sewing, added a little bit of this vintage trim, and some tea-dyed fabric, some sparkly trim there. That was fun to make. And I made one similar here too. Different napkin. And I put some of that little polka dot lace on here. A fussy cut. And here's another one of those cards commemorating a stamp. Oh, that's lovely. Opera. We've got a lady that does bowling on the front, that pin. We've got ballerinas. We've got opera singer. We've got a little girl that loved dogs. And this here was, yeah, from some jewelry. I thought this was really feminine, went really well in here, so I put that there. And on this side, this flips down, and here's a spot as well. Journal card. And there's a little cat. That stamped window, just like the cat on this card. We've got a card here. I thought it was very pretty. This lady does lovely artwork. It says a little bit on the back about her. It's a Canadian. Lots of writing space in there. I tea-dyed it to make it go with the book better. And it's a postcard. Very feminine. Vintage button, vintage lace. Another little charm. This one is the same on both sides. It's so pretty. Here I used a greeting card to make a tuck spot. And then this tucks up under there as well. Writing space. You can write on here too. There's room to tuck more things. To mail this, I might have to take some of the things out and place them in the box with this, but we'll see, because it's pretty thick, this book. And then just some paper here for writing on. A magazine page turned into a pocket, because I just love those flowers. I made a little writing space out of a vintage book page, did some stamping on it. This tea-dyed paper in the middle of it too, and there's some vintage doily. And on this side I put one of these little tally cards and added some tea-dyed paper so that it's a little journal booklet. Coffee dyed paper there. Here's another greeting card, and on this side I put this on here, so secret writing spot here, but you can also write on here. Another magazine page. Just love the colors, the flowers, the fabric, oh, the postcard there, the old frame. It looks like it's from 2009. Victoria magazine, yep. And I turned this side into a pocket and put some tea-dyed stationery in there for writing on. I don't know if this is showing up or not, but there's a lovely kind of shell pattern from the tea dyeing, using a shell patterned plastic doily that I have. Some stamping there, and this is paper that I dyed with blueberries. And this, oh, this is lovely, this dress. I thought this goes good with the ballerinas and just the whole feminine theme of this book. I even like the wallpaper, and the looks like a vintage clothes hanger too. It's beautiful. Some stamping on this side. And here we've got another Reader's Digest postcard with dancers on it, and this old fabric, love that. The colors and the botanical themes to it as well. Some stamping there, and here's a spot for a postcard. Writing space, tuck here with a journal, green card turned into a journal card, an envelope folded over to create a tuck, and also a spot here. And I've got a happy birthday card. I left this because I did tea dye though. It's made in Canada. It's a vintage card. I don't know what year it's from, but it says vintage all over it, that's for sure. And definitely feminine. And see the two ladies together? Out for a ride, and they're taking care of the horses themselves. Made a tag out of a journal card to put in this little pocket made with a magazine page. There's some writing spaces here too. And this is how we begin. We begin with a mom who's watching out for us, who takes the time to explain things to us and keep us safe, but also let us have adventures so that we become, strong, brave, interesting people. And here we have a charm. I'm not sure what this pendant is, but I thought it was delightful. A vintage button there. And here's a card from, I think it was from the Netherlands. Yeah. The back. And there's some writing space there. Little girl fairy. And that just slips out. That's stationery. It's been tea-dyed. On this side, we've got mother and a daughter again out walking. I suspect it's a mother and a daughter out in nature. Stamping there. This flips down, and there's a little tea-dyed booklet that I made out of some really old paper. And I'm trying to copy this. The umbrella. Friends. Yeah. Friends are the best people to go walking with. And this card here is also one of the ones I think, oh, it's from the UK. Anyways, it's left blank inside for writing. And here is a vintage postcard from Washington. I thought the plates went really nice with this wallpaper, the blue. Here I did a kind of a fussy cut part of a greeting card. Just love this cozy theme. And then I made a little booklet. It's got an unusual shaped button here, vintage button there, some fussy cut flower from a book that's been tea-dyed, put onto some tea-dyed paper, and tea-dyed paper inside, and I think that's coffee dye, this here. And a little quote here about friends, and this is silk. I keep making those until I run out of those silk samples. They're perfect for making little booklets out of. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I inspired you, but you see how thick it is? I just cannot add anything more to it. But I think she will squish down enough so that she'll fit in the packing box. I don't know what her name is yet, but I have a few minutes to name her. What shall you be? Well, I'll have to think about that. In the meantime, take care and don't be afraid to take chances and repurpose things that you have that you love, but you're really not using them, so turn it into a junk journal. I might be doing a giveaway soon, because if I finish this project that I'm working on and I am repurposing a shopping bag, it's an autumn theme shopping bag. So yeah, stay tuned. I might be doing that later this week. I hope I do anyways. Hope I get it done. But I thought, wow, I wonder if anyone else has done a junk journal out of a department store shopping bag. Well, I did, and it's gonna be cute. It's not quite done, but it's cutesy. And because I worked on it on Sunday, I was feeling lonely one Sunday because everyone was out, and I was glad the guys were out doing their riding up in the hills, but I was lonely, so I ended up making a journal, and now that journal is going to get finished and used for a giveaway. Take care. Thanks, as always. Thank you for watching.